Welcome back to Positive Vibes. As you already heard in the first video, we talked about our beliefs and we talked about how important they are. We talked about what we give out is the same thing that we get back. That's why there are two kind of people. One who always think that people out to get him or her, and the other one who always think that everyone around him or everyone around her is always helpful. In fact, our subconscious mind accepts whatever we choose to believe. They both mean that what I believe about myself and about life becomes true for me. What you choose to think about yourself and about life becomes true for you. And what we have unlimited choices about what we can think. And this is so true. We have unlimited choices about what we can think. We can be the person who thinks that everyone is helpful, and we can choose to be the person who thinks that people are out to get him. It's really up to you. It's really up to the thought that you already have in your mind, because our thoughts create our experiences and then our future, which we call it life. When we know this, then it makes sense to choose everyone is always helpful rather than people are out to get me. I hope that it makes sense, so you can ponder and think about this, because it's really fundamental. Most of us have foolish ideas about who we are and many rigid rules about how life ought to be lived. And this is not to condemn us. For each of us, I know that each of us is doing the very best we can at this very moment. If we knew better, if we had more understanding and awareness, then we would do it differently. This is the very expression that everyone has repeated to himself or to herself, like while you're in this life. But the fact that you are here to think again about the things that you have already said in your mind is really can make a new positive change in your life. We just have to acknowledge ourselves for this. Like, people use and still say that men don't cry or women can't handle money. You see, those ideas makes it difficult for people to reset our thoughts, to change our thoughts, because they're so limiting ideas to live with. Can you just ponder, when we are very little, we'll learn how to feel about ourselves and about life by the reactions of the adults around us. It was the way we'll learn what to think about ourselves and about our world. But now, if you lived with people who were very unhappy, frightened, guilty, or angry, then you'll learn a lot of negative things about yourself and about your world. Like, for example, you may or we may say to ourselves, I never do anything right, it's my fault. If I get angry, it means I'm a bad person. So beliefs like these create such a frustrated life. But when we grow up, we have a tendency to recreate the emotional environment of our early home life. It means this is not good or bad, right or wrong. It's just what we know inside as home. We also tend to recreate in our personal relationships the relationship we had with our mothers or with our fathers, or what they had between them. You just have to think how often you have had a lover or a boss who was just like your mother or father. We also treat ourselves the way our parents treated us. We scold, we punish ourselves in the same way. You can almost hear the words when you listen. You can almost hear the words when you listen. We also love and encourage ourselves in the same way as we used to be treated. If we were loved and encouraged as children, you never do anything right, it's all your fault. How often have you said this to yourself? So many. But sometimes we say to ourselves, if only we had such opposite environment, such positive environment where we can hear, you're wonderful, I really love you. How often do you tell yourself this? However, I wouldn't blame our parents for this. We are all victims of victims, and they couldn't possibly have taught us anything they didn't know. If your mother didn't know how to love herself, or your father didn't know how to love himself, then it would be impossible for them to teach you to love yourself. They were doing the best they would, or the best they could, with what they had been taught as children. So if you want to understand your parents more, get them to talk about their own childhood. And if you listen with compassion, you will learn where their fears and rigid patterns come from. Then you understand those people who did all that stuff to you were just as frightened and scared as you are.